and welcome to my country garden. We're in the second week of April and we're just about at the end of a run of really lovely weather up here in Scotland. We've had high temperatures and calm sunny weather, but that's just about, well, I think the weather's going to break today. But just because the weather's going to change doesn't mean to say that there isn't lots to be done. There is still plants to plant out, there's seedlings to transplant, there's more seeds to sow. And later on, I'll show you how I've transformed a 1 metre square raised bed into somewhere that gives me extra growing space for my heat-loving plants. Okay, let's first of all look at potatoes. And what I have here in front of me are rocket. These are first early. And what I did, instead of just putting them straight into large buckets to grow on, I actually put one potato into each of these small pots so that I could sow them quite early when there was still potentially a good risk of frost. So I sowed these and I popped them in the polytunnel, and so they're easier to sort of deal with size-wise. And I've grown them on, and you can see now that I've got some nice healthy plants. And I'm now going to put these into the buckets where they're going to do the remainder of their growing. Okay, what I'm going to do with these then is I have some, if I can get them separated. I have some 20-litre pots, and I'm going to put 2 of these into each of the 20-litre pots to grow on. So let me just show you one. I won't bore you with the rest, but let me just show you what I'm going to do. So, 20-litre pot, I've got some fresh compost here. I won't always use fresh compost for my potatoes. If I can find some spent stuff, I will have a combination of fresh and spent usually, but I have been putting a lot in beds, so some lovely compost. I'm going to put, I don't know, about 4 inches or so. So there's about 4 inches there, and what I'm now going to do is I'm going to add 2 things. I've got fish blood and bone, and a handful of that is going in. And I have potato fertiliser, which is in a different tub because the original tub burst, but let's see if I can get into this. There we go. Potato fertiliser, a handful of that goes in as well, and I'm just going to mix those through. And then I'm going to get 2 plants, and I'm going to pop the 2 plants in, and I'm going to top up the bucket, but I'm not going to completely cover the plants. I'm going to top up the bucket so you can just see a little bit of the plants coming through because the plants are there, and then I'll gradually earth up in effect. These are first early, so generally if you're just putting the tubers in you don't need to earth up, but because I'm putting them in as small plants, I'm going to earth up as I go for these ones. So let's see what we're dealing with here. So not bad in the way roots, not bad at all. Whoops, maybe need to stand up for this. Let me just pull you in a bit closer. Boop. Let's get the other one. So you can see them in there, hopefully. Now I'm just going to carefully put some compost around them and partially cover them. So I'm going to give them a good water, and I'm going to pop them actually into, I've got like a sort of grow house that isn't being used as a grow house at the moment. but I will be using it for tomatoes. I'm going to pop these in there at night, and then during the day I'll bring them out just until they're a bit more established, and then I will bring them out completely in a couple of weeks' time. Just keep my eye on the weather, but as long as we don't have any frosts, we should be okay. So that's the first two rockets, first earlies in, and there's no mystery about, oh, I wonder if my potatoes are going to grow or not, because we've already established that they are. So I'll just do the others, and then we're going to have a look at my second earlies. Okay, now on to second earlies, and second earlies for me always means Charlotte. Charlotte are just a fantastic second early potato. I could never imagine not growing Charlottes each year. And these have been chitting on a windowsill out of direct sunshine for a few weeks now actually, and you can see, hopefully, that there's some really nice chits on these, and they're absolutely ready, more than ready to get out into their growing position. So with the second earlies, my standard approach is to take 30-litre pot, to put in 5 inches or so of compost, mix in my amendments, which in this case is bloodfish and bone and potato fertiliser. Pop 3 potatoes, so I'll be putting three Charlottes in each of my 30-litre pots, and then I'll just fill it right up to the top, and that's them. I don't have to worry about them other than watering them thereafter. So I'm going to do these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably enough for about 8 pots of potatoes. So yeah, I'll get these in. I'll show you the first one, and then you'll get the idea. And these will be getting watered, and I'm not going to be putting them in these under cover at all, because there will no foliage above the surface of the compost yet. So I'm going to put them in their growing position, which is down the side of the garden, down the side of the fence, and I'll show you where they are in situ, and that's where they will grow on for about 15 or 16 weeks, and we should then get some gorgeous, beautifully tasting Charlotte potatoes. Whoops. So that's a couple of handfuls of bloodfish and bone and a couple of handfuls of chicken manure pellets, and I'll make sure that's well mixed through. I'll get my seed potatoes and pop them in, chit side up, and then we will top that up with more compost. That's the first of the second earlies in. I will of course label it so that I know what it is. Okay, that's the Charlotte's all gone in. Last potato related thing I'm going to do today is cut this little potato up into bits because this is my potato entrant for the Single Seed Potato Challenge 2025. And anyone that knows my channel knows that every year I take part in this challenge set up by Steve from the Digwell Green Fingers channel. And the idea is you have a single seed potato and you see how many potatoes you can grow from it weight wise. Yeah, there is an additional class in this competition this year. Usually it is the biggest yield from a single seed potato, but you have a choice and you can go for the heaviest potato out of your harvest from your single seed potato, or you can enter both. So I'll see if I've got a heavy one to go in for the heaviest, but I'll certainly be going in for the highest yield. And I'll have a try again. So what I usually do is the same as what most people do, and that is chit the seed potato to see how many chits we've got, how many eyes are there, and then I'll cut this up into as many pieces as I have chits, and I'll pop these in each of them in little pots and grow them on to plant size, much like I did with the first earlies. Then I will transplant them on. But there'll be some other jiggery pokery in the middle of that as well. So my first role today though, or my first job today, is to cut this potato up, and then I'm going to leave it overnight just to let the cut edges dry off a little bit, and then I will do the next thing with these, which is pop them into pots. Oakley dokley, I am brandishing my hori hori actually, because that's all I have out here. I'm sure it'll be fine. And you should be able to see there's a number of chits here, but this end doesn't have so many. So I'm actually going to start by cutting that. And so there I have just one chit on this. Now looking here, I've got lots of chits here. Oh, I think I'm going to have to go and get something else other than that hori hori. Let's see. And I've got a chit there and a chit there. So I can at least do this, and that will give me, ooh, we've got a little chit there actually. That might be worth trying to do something with. And then we've got one there. So I'm going to half this. And we'll see, I actually cut through that chit a little bit foolishly. Well, it's tiny though. So we've got that one and that one. So that's maybe 3. Then we've got, that's an easy one there. So that's one there. So that's 4. Then we've got five, and then we've got in there. So then we've got 6 and 7. Is that one? I don't think so. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of them is a bit, yeah, oh no, that one's okay. That one's okay. That one is just like tiny. Whether that will actually do anything or not, we'll see. But anyway, 7 pieces to begin with. I'm going to pop these just into the shed there, let them dry off, and then tomorrow I will pop these into pots. I'll video that as well so that you can see that. It may not be in this video, it may be in my next video, we'll just see. And we'll take it from there. So I'd love to hear actually if you're taking part in the single seed potato challenge, and drop in the comments if you are, and whether you've started your single seed potato off or not yet. Okay, this is the day after I cut the potato into 7 pieces. And what I'm going to do now is put each piece in one of these pots, cover it up, pop them in the polytunnel, and wait on them to grow. So it's really just as simple as finding the potato with the chit, popping it in, then covering it up. And I'll do that for the other 6 pieces and bring you back once I'm done. Okay, that's it done. Fingers crossed that we get plants from each of these pots. It would be fantastic. But for now, that's as far as I can go with the Single Seed Potato Challenge 2025. I am excited to say that we have liftoff where the carrots are concerned. Hopefully you can see my carrots are starting to come through. And also at the other side, I have some parsnips coming through as well. So I've got a couple of varieties of parsnips here. We have Palace and we have Guernsey. So the Guernseys, there's some weeds there. The Guernseys haven't come up yet, I don't think, because I've just got 1 row of those, but the Palace are starting to come through. And over at this side, the carrots are sweet candle, and I've got 5 rows of sweet candle. So I am hoping that they will continue to grow and give me a lovely crop later on in the year. Fingers crossed anyway. Okay, now on to onions. I've got these onions, they're Carmen, they're a red onion, and to be honest, I transplanted them into this cell tray and it's not very deep, so they're really, if you see their roots, really ready to either move on or get planted out. So I'm going to plant them out into this bed here, and I don't know whether I'll get them all in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 8s are 40, so no, I don't think I'm going to get them all in there, but I'll get as many as I can in there, and the rest I will either pop somewhere else or I will keep a hold of until I have a space for them. Let's just have a look. They are just in little cells, but you should be able to see it's quite a nice little root system there, but I really think they need to be planted out now, so let me get that done. Now I did top up this bed with compost, and I also put some fish blood and bone in. So I'll get these in and I will get these watered and put the net back over, and hopefully they'll be happy here. Okay, I got 25 in, so 5 by 5, and I'll just get them watered and get this net down over them. The rain is just starting, not had rain for a while. Don't know how much we're going to get, but I better just get this camera under cover. Okay, I've moved down towards the chicken run just to stay out of the rain, although it seems to have stopped a little bit. I want to transplant these guys here. These are 2 tomatoes that I grew on indoors, and they're called Outdoor Girl. So these are destined to be growing outdoors, even here in the east of central Scotland. So they're looking very strong, I have to say. So I'm going to put these into larger pots. I'm going to take them back indoors, though they'll grow on a bit indoors before they come back out to be potted into their final positions. But let's get these into bigger pots, which I just so happen to have here. So I think these pots will be good. Let's have a quick look and see what these are looking like. Yeah, look at you see the roots? They're looking super, actually. So these of course can go in quite deep. I'll just take off the seed leaves and we will plant these quite deep in the pot so that they become nice, strong, well-fed plants. There we go. There we are. Fantastic. Now it's time to do a bit more sowing. Seed sowing. Fantastic. So there's no lack of things that you can sow in April, as this box full of seeds will demonstrate. I'm only going to be sowing a couple of things, so don't panic. I'm not going to be going through everything here. I have got lots of things already on the go, but now that we are in April, there's a couple of things that I definitely want to get started. First of those is courgettes. Now I actually there's two varieties that I bought this year to grow. The first one is Astia, which is your typical green courgette. And the next one is Summer Sun, which is a yellow round courgette. But actually, I got a gardening magazine last month and it had courgette Black Beauty in there. So I'm going to grow some Black Beauty as well. Now, the interesting thing is, I didn't get any courgettes last year. It was such a rubbish year for growing, and for whatever reason, my courgettes did not thrive. Did I get a single fruit? I don't even think I did. So I'm quite excited about the prospect of getting courgettes, but I will need to rein myself in and not have too many plants. But I think what I will do is I'll sow 3 of each, and if I get 1 or 2 of each, then I will be happy. Here's Astia, first of all. Okay, that's these done. These are going to go indoors to germinate, and once they've germinated and they're big enough, I'll prick them out, and once I've pricked them out, I'll bring them out into the polytunnel. Okay, that's the courgettes in. Next to be sown are my cucumbers. So I've got 2 varieties of cucumber that I am going to grow. The first is Telegraph, traditional, classic cucumber, and the other one is Market More. Market More I grow mostly every year, and this is a ridge cucumber. You can actually grow it outside. It's got little, it's a ridge because it's got the little lumpy bits on the skin, but they taste really, really nice. So Market More and Telegraph are the 2 cucumbers that I'm going to grow this year. And again, these will come indoors to germinate. And once I've transplanted them, I'll then bring them out into, once they've grown, I'll bring them out into the polytunnel. Okay, so I've done 2, 2, 2 for Market More and 2, 2, 2 for Telegraph. Okay, and now to the bed that I have been working on this morning and yesterday. Let me show you what I've done to give myself some more growing space outside of the polytunnel for heat-loving plants. It's just over here.
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing, faces merchant change, but your face remains the same.
Oh dear, this is what happens when I don't protect a bed from the chickens. And it's a nice day and we're having a dust bath. Oh dear, girls, what are you like? Is this good? Just as well I love you guys. Okay, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's built out of pretty much stuff that I had lying around, you can tell. So what I have built, I think I am going to call my mini greenhouse. Because in fact, the majority of it is built with greenhouse polycarbonate that I was given. So it's basically one of my metal raised beds. I think it's 1 metre squared, and I have constructed basically an enclosure around it that will mean that this will be lovely and toasty. Still got to put some earth in. Excuse me. But it will be lovely and toasty. And I'm going to use this for my sweet peppers, maybe a chilli or so, chilli or two as well. But I should get a few sweet pepper plants in here, and this should keep them lovely and cosy whilst letting me grow them on and not filling up the polytunnel with them. There are some gaps at the front and the back, and we'll get some airflow going through there, and it also means that they're not going to absolutely roast. And there's also a gap at the bottom here, even when the door is shut. So there is a little bit of a gap there, although I've got some wood so that it doesn't give the plants a draft, and in fact they'll be a bit higher up than that because I've still got more compost to put in. So yes, this is my this is my mini greenhouse for this year. I'm not saying I'm going to keep it forever because it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I am sure it is going to be functional. Okay, well, I think that's me done. It's been a very busy weekend. I've got lots done. Still got a to-do list as long as your arm, but I think we all have, haven't we? So, yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.